And D-Rock here with another stream. It is Friday, November 18th, 9:43 a.m. Central Standard Time for watching us live. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Crypto market cap sitting right now at $832 billion. Bitcoin dominance 38.4%. ETH dominance at 17.8%. Bitcoin hasn't moved a whole lot here in the past 24 hours. As we can see, it's chilling just below 16,700. ETH, again, roughly at the same spot that it was yesterday. Right now, sitting at 12.13. BNB, I think it moved like $3 since yesterday. It's sitting at 272. So went up like roughly a percent for the daily. As you can see, 1.5%. Dogecoin right around 8.5 cents again. Cardano right around 32, 33 cents. Matic 88 cents. Dot at 570. Link at 616. Atom at 997, just below $10. Taking a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we can see that we are up 135.89 points or 0.41%. Taking a look at Bitcoin, we can see on the hourly that a descending triangle is forming. Now, if you're zoomed in, you can form a triangle right here. That's not to say this. You could argue this trend line or the bottom part of the descending triangle maybe is just a little bit higher, somewhere over here, maybe up here. But I think this is a good basis for the triangle. And then down here's the bigger picture triangle playing out. Bitcoin is kind of running out of room. Now we could see a fake out. We could see something like, realistically speaking, we don't know where the market's going to go, but it's all about probabilities. I could see us coming up here, maybe getting just back above 17K to kind of get the bulls excited, and then literally right shortly thereafter comes like comes right back down. And then maybe we test down here right around 16,100, 16,200. And then obviously, you know the story. If that doesn't hold, well, maybe we have a bounce and we come back up. And then again, as we get closer and closer to this, uh, the angled side, the slanted side of the triangle, um, I think maybe, yeah, again, maybe we could have a little fake out or come back up, and then eventually we just go down and retest these lows. Looking at the 1 minute chart, we can see that Bitcoin was oversold just about an hour and a half ago. Um, Again, these prices aren't too bad to DCA, but I am trying to build a bigger cash position. So if we do go lower, can take advantage. Here's that triangle on a bigger time horizon on the daily. Again, probably just gonna see Bitcoin maybe have a fake out and then come back up just above 7K, 17K enough so people think that it's going to go higher, but ultimately the bears dump on the market, and then we test these lows over here. That kind of holds maybe for a bit, and then inevitably we get back down to 15,600. Headed over to Twitter. Uh, I already announced this yesterday, but I think this is pretty significant. El Salvador's president Nayib Bukele tweeted that they're going to be buying 1 Bitcoin every day starting tomorrow. Now, this is coming from 2 days ago, so they just started buying Bitcoin again yesterday, and they just bought another one today. And here's some other news. Have you secured your part? 1.8 million Bitcoin left to be mined. 2 million Bitcoin remaining on exchanges. In total, 3.8 million Bitcoin left for people to fight for. 3.8 million divided by 8 billion, which is roughly the population of the world, comes out to 0.0000475 Bitcoin per person. So like way smaller than basically a what is it, 100th of a percent, or four, four, you get what I'm saying. Very small amount of Bitcoin. Now, to put things into perspective, to get just $40 worth of Bitcoin, maybe $43 worth or whatever, is equivalent to about 0.0025. Now, that was like if you were to take the whole supply of Bitcoin, which is 21 million, and divide it by 8 billion, you'd come out to roughly about 0.0025 Bitcoin per person. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. So if you wanted to be ahead of pretty much like 90% of people, just buy $40 to $50 worth of Bitcoin. Again, kind of going into the whole shrimp, whales, orcas, like depending on how much Bitcoin you have, you're considered different animal or whatever. Quick math: 330K Bitcoin mined per year this halving era. FTX has $1.4 billion in Bitcoin on the books, meaning 80,000 Bitcoin, assuming incurred this year, means FTX increased Bitcoin supply issuance 25% this year. Others likely did the same. No wonder we're under prior cycle highs, having math interference. Legend, this guy, I guess over on Twitter, whatever, said, I finally joined one Bitcoin club, on my way to the second one, feeling good. So this guy just achieved 1.1, or he just became a whole coiner. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna try to become a whole coiner by the end of next year at some point. We'll see how things play out. Now, if the market goes down to 10, if Bitcoin comes down to 10K or something like that, I could probably stack a bit more than that. But again, time will tell. Um, I also want to invest in other things besides Bitcoin, even though it has massive uh, upside potential, in the long term. In the short term, it's probably not going to go very high, considering all the macros and the economy and stuff like that and around the globe. But let's continue with the news. My view is that the West is preparing to blame the everything bubble popping on Bitcoin in order to prevent exit and force reset into CBDCs. Well, I think this is kind of like this is going to happen regardless of Bitcoin and crypto. CBDCs, China and Russia already have theirs. Britain wants to roll out theirs. The US is testing theirs with, I believe, like 12 banking companies or something like that, 12 different banks or whatever, over in New York. So we'll see what comes out of that. But it's just a matter of time before most countries have some form of CBDC. Bitcoin brings fuck around and find out back to banking. Crypto firm Multicoin expects contagion from FTX to wipe out many trading firms in the coming weeks, according to CNBC. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. We've seen how interconnected a lot of these exchanges are. They loan each other out reserves and stuff like that to claim that they have, to show everyone and take a screenshot and show everyone that they have all the assets that they claim they do, even though they don't. It's like IOUs, bunch of IOUs. Crypto lender Genesis seeks $1 billion emergency loan by Monday. This came out yesterday, so they have 3 days left. We'll see if they acquire the money that they need, because if they don't get it, it's not going to look too good. Voyager put forth a motion to sell their share of the Market Rebellion joint venture. They're proposing giving Market Rebellion their 50% share to terminate Voyager's expense obligation, reducing $160,000 per month in wages and $20,000 in other expenses. Steve has filed a motion in support of the sale. I agree with this guy. Like, why wasn't this done in July? Like, were you essentially having to pay these extra expenditures every month since July? You know, like when essentially Voyager was officially like bankrupt and such. I don't know why it's taken them that long. Like, if this is the case, they essentially had to pay um pretty much almost $1 million extra between this 160K and this 20K. You do the math, it's we're looking at almost $1 million, which means you and I are probably going to get a little less, which is ridiculous. I don't know. Onwards, Bitcoin is an open, permissionless, censorship resistant protocol for money. Twitter should aspire to be an open, permissionless, censorship resistant protocol for speech. It's coming from Michael Saylor. 500 million USDT, equivalent to roughly $500 million, transferred from unknown wallet to Binance. CZ says if an exchange holds users' assets as is, no amount of other people's tweets will cause problems. This is pretty true. Um, Dylan LeClaire says, Barry, literally all we ask is just don't say steady, lads. If you don't know who Barry Silbert is, he's the founder slash CEO of DCG, parent of Grayscale, Genesis Trading, CoinDesk. And Dylan Leclerc goes on to say, does anyone know the addresses for 630K, 630K Bitcoin and GBTC? Are there some form of proof of reserves? And if no, why? We have a fully transparent public ledger so we can audit the stuff. All I can find is a CSV file that updates daily. Why not publish the address? I say this as someone without GBTC exposure. I'm just curious. I've gotten 4 to 5 DMs over the past week asking me to look on chain to find the addresses. Feels like transparent on chain holdings would be a more trustworthy way of doing things than a CSV. And I've kind of read through this, and more or less, a lot of people are like, yeah, it's actually weird that they actually just have the CSV file, because supposedly it takes more work to do the CSV file according to the uh in comparison to the other way to do it. So it's like almost like they're doing more work, and it's like it's being not as transparent too, and because it's like I don't know. I'm not claiming to know how all this works, but again, I've just read through the comments and people are basically saying uh, them only having the CSV file is kind of weird, because again, that takes more effort than the other form, but again, it's not as transparent, it's not as clear as to what's going on. So it is a Invest Answer says, dear Michael and the Grayscale team, you could really help the community who are ultra nervous given the state of crypto. Can you share proof of GBCT GBTC 633.60K Bitcoin reserves at Brian Armstrong at Coinbase for helping your customers? Alex Mashinsky went off on this
I'm just
guy.
gonna be here for a minute. I wanted to say fuck you to Simon for attacking my wife.
This guy
Wants to come after
ran
me,
away
he can
with
do that
so
all
many
day long.
so
But if
many
you want to come
people's
after my
money, and
wife,
he's
after my
he's getting salty
family,
about people
that's a new
talking
low for
about his
Simon,
wife
right?
negatively on
So you want to go
on
pick
Twitter
partners, go
Spaces.
pick other people like Salt and so on.
It's rather comical. Just a reminder, get your Bitcoin the F off Robinhood. Jump was in bed with Alameda and Three Arrows Capital. Jump ate nearly $1 billion in losses, bailing out Wormhole and Terra Luna. Jump was massive holder Vest, Sol, FTT, Serum, which are all wrecked. Robinhood chose Jump to execute trades at FTX. So if you still have crypto slash Bitcoin on your Robinhood account, take it off, please. Breaking, Sam Bankman-Fried has been accused in court documents of gaining unauthorized access to FTX systems after filing for bankruptcy to transfer digital assets to the Bahamas government. Recent bankruptcy documents reveal that the company, once valued at $32 billion, didn't have an accountant. That sounds like uh, a massive oversight on their regard. Bahamas Securities Commission says they have taken full control of all FTX assets. FTX co founder files emergency legal document alleging Bahamas regulator instructed Sam Bankman Fried to transfer company assets to the government. Like, what is going on with this? Maxine Waters blowing Sam Bankman Fried a kiss in what looks to be like a courtroom potentially, or a actually I don't know. I'm not gonna assume. Safe to say that went well. And then now Maxine Waters announces hearing into FTX crypto mogul and political donor Sam Bankman Fried. Is there a conflict of interest here? You know, she's blowing kiss in one clip and now she's going after him. I don't know. Here we have Biden back in 2006 being super against gay slash lesbian marriage. He says it's strictly for men and women. I'm not saying people can't change their mind over time, but with these politicians, we happen to see very often that they conveniently change their stance, and it's all a show. It's just to gather more votes for their agenda, their cause, their campaign. You know, Nancy Pelosi stepping down because they lost the majority in the House of Representatives. The Democrats I'm referring to. She says, "I will not seek re-election and Democratic leadership in the next Congress." Thank goodness. See you later, Nance. Um, Zelfman is a Democrat, and basically during the Watergate investigation, she was fired by him, and basically he said that she was a liar. She's an unethical, dishonest lawyer. She conspired to violate the Constitution, the rules of the House, the rules of the committee, and the rules of confidentiality. I kind of want to look into this more, but I thought I'd bring this up because I thought that was kind of interesting. And the reality is, all these people are conspiring to uh, commit more war and more atrocities around the globe. Meanwhile, you know, we basically beg other dictators for oil and such. U.S. distillate stocks, which include diesel and heating oil, are now at their lowest level since 1951 for this time of the year. Nothing to see here. I wonder why that is. The S&P 500 2008 versus 2022 analog next week is make or break. We'll see what happens, you guys. I think there's going to be a massive sell off because I think a lot of people, again, with the ending of the year coming, people want to take some losses for tax season, you know, which is only like a few months away. Federal Reserve says they will raise the federal fund rates by 50 basis points in December, said 78 of the 84 economists. Five said 25 basis points, and one said 75 basis points, according to a poll. I think uh, 50 or 75 is, I think 50 is very likely. I think 75 is like maybe like 20% chance. I would love to see them do 75 basis points because I really don't think the market's expecting that, and we could see a decent sell off from Bitcoin and other assets as a result. Which I don't know, depending on your position. If you're too invested, it might not be so good. But if you have a lot of cash on the sidelines waiting to deploy, might be a good time to get in. We'll see. CPI and PPI data indicate that inflation is leveling off. This is coming from the Fed's Kashkari. Again, they have different representatives and stuff like that, so they have very conflicting messages. You know, so one guy will say, "Oh, well, inflation's still out of control. Like we're not going to be doing rate cuts anytime soon. And then you have people like Kashkari that are saying that inflation is leveling off, which I don't think you can necessarily say just yet. I think we have another 3 to 6 months of uh, pretty much pain in the market. But again, what do I know? Not financial advice, NFA. Ignore that though. The economy is strong. Credit card balances jump 15%, highest annual leap in over 20 years as Americans fall deeper in debt. Yeah, you guys, we want to be watching out with your credit card balances because interest rates are going up. Personally, I'm trying to pay off as much of my debt as I can right now, along with investing a little bit. But uh, keep these credit card balances low. Do not, if you can, at all costs, try not use it too much. Hundreds of Twitter employees resign following Elon Musk's extremely hardcore work environment. Twitter temporarily closes all office buildings and suspends employee access. What's going on over there? Elon Musk, we're waiting. We're still waiting for Robert W. Malone, MD, to be reinstated here on Twitter. Just a reminder that over in Texas, Greg Abbott's saying COVID vaccine mandates are prohibited in Texas as part of school attendance because if you guys were unaware, the CDC made it mandatory for children from the ages of 5 to 11 to take a COVID vaccine on I think a yearly basis to attend school. How disgusting is this? Considering all the different side effects and adverse reactions associated with the jabs and such, they just pushed it through, basically making it mandated for children 5 to 11 to attend school. Reason being, they I hate to say this, but the reason is they don't want to be held liable, and that's kind of a loophole that they have. And it makes you wonder about any other previous vaccines you had to take as a kid. I'm not an anti-vaxxer whatsoever, but is like, did they use that loophole many times before? It makes you wonder. TTC dropping COVID-19 vaccine mandate, announces plans to reinstate permanent employees. Again, it's good to see people coming to their senses, but the reality is we did see yesterday and the day before about how G20 is talking about COVID passports and how we need to build off that infrastructure to like save the world if any future pandemics come about. And it's like, okay, we get what you're saying. You're literally hinting at what's going to happen. You're literally telling us more or less what's going to happen. So this is pretty dystopian. So are these people going to be, are they going to enforce that garbage again? They say they're sorry, but are they going to, do it again? Because if they're really sorry, they won't do it again. They won't push that insanity, but that's just my opinion. Bill Gates tells G20 world leaders that death panels will soon be required. Unelected world health leader or health czar Bill Gates has used his appearance at the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia, to raise a discussion about death panels. According to Gates, death panels will be necessary in the near future in order to end the lives of sick and unwell people due to very, very high medical costs. Why are the medical costs so high to begin with? Asshole. Disgusting. Just in, the FDA has approved a lab grown meat product for human consumption. If you're unaware, he's very much behind that, so it doesn't surprise me one bit that the FDA's approved that. Here we have unelected Klaus Schwab at the G20 summit saying, uh, we need a deep systemic restructuring of our world, and the world will look very different after we have gone through this transition process. They aren't hiding it anymore. It's the Great Reset. That's right. I hate to be bearer of bad news, but uh, again, they're telling you everything they're going to do. You just have to listen with open ears. And again, you can listen in disbelief, but Again, they're telling you exactly what they're going to do, their playbook. You just need to digest it and be willing to accept that. Just a reminder that dollar, again, if it bleeds more, we could see some more upside out of Bitcoin, crypto, and stocks. But if we see it rally to the upside, more downside and pain for stock market and crypto. Until Monday, you guys, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Please like, share, and subscribe. Um, yeah. Until then, 9:30 a.m., 9:45 a.m. Central Standard Time on Monday. Take care and invest wisely.